Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to show you how I do a real pretty purple and white floral design on this glass bottle. I'm looking at it here. I think I never painted on it, but it has some paint on it. Anyhow, I went over this with rubbing alcohol after cleaning off the labels and washing it with soap and water. And I am ready to go as far as painting on it. I will be using two Amagic paintbrushes. Today, the first two that I'm using are flat brushes. I have a number 12 and a number 10, and then a Westonia fine liner and a number 2 Deerfoot stippler. All of my items will be listed down below the video. Check them out. There are affiliate links that you can purchase them through if you are interested. And all the paint that I use are FolkArt paints. It's a little bit hard as far as finding a link for all the colors, but what I'm using today in this video is aqua. And I do believe all of these are actually enamels. Licorice, wicker white, fresh foliage, and red violet. A lot of times I mix them, and I can go with between the enamels and the multi-surface paints. All of them are FolkArt that I use. For the flower petals, I'm going to be using the red violet and the wicker white. With the way I have my videos set up, though, I do need to apologize. It's hard for me to get the whole area in that I'm using for painting. So I'm just going to show you. I just tip my sides into the colors that I want to use, do some blending strokes. They normally recommend that you have 3/4 of the bristles full of paint. That's up to you. You'll find when you start painting that you're going to figure out which works best for you based upon your painting style. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. On this one, I'm just going to do just some very simple strokes to create my flowers, and any variation of my design, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, so keep that in mind. It's just to give you an idea of designs that can be created, but you don't actually have to do them exactly like mine. Or I like to put a lot of greenery in, and you might not like as many leaves as I do, so that's fine, I get it. This particular flower is just going to be on this one. I'm going to have three levels of strokes, meaning like 3 petals, basically. When you're doing painting like this on glass, the main thing to keep in mind is the thicker you put your paint on, the more durable your design is going to be. But doing bottle painting, that may not be quite as important, but you know, just to keep that in mind anytime you're painting on glass. Now, I did just stick my Deerfoot stippler just solidly into the licorice, which is black, and I'm just creating the center of this flower, putting the base down first, and then I'm going to continue painting. Alright, the next one is going to be hopefully an open. So I'm just doing this. It's kind of like a 3-level petal. And then I'll come here and do the same thing. I keep sticking to the tissue paper here. Pushing it down, just moving it up and around like that. Very simple. All of my designs are intended to be good for beginner painters. I'm not doing anything that's too difficult. If you can hold a paintbrush, hopefully you can do my designs. Okay, now on the center one like this, I'm only going to do just 2 2 sets of petals. I'm not going to do the 3. No reason in particular for that either. I'm just not doing as many. You just got to be careful too when you're doing this so you don't raise the paint up underneath the layer that you're painting on. You could do 3 if you wanted. I'm just going to do the 2. I think it's fine. And then what I'm going to do is just go around, take my brush, come on the outside and just kind of pull it towards the center. Take my brush, turn it this way and pull it down. Come over here, do the same thing, and just keep going as you're going around and pulling it down. Don't have to be perfect. You just want to create a pretty design in the center of your flower as much as you can. Again, just very simple. Now I just have to worry about turning my brush and not hitting my paint design on the paper here. And you could do a smaller brush than what I'm doing here for the center work. I just went ahead and stuck with the size that I was using. Just so you know, you can switch it out if you need to. Alright, so then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to create, I'm only going to do three flowers on this design. I'm going to keep working on this bottom flower. Sorry about my furnace running here, that's what you're hearing in the background. I happen to do my painting in my utility room area, and that's where my furnace is. Okay, and I'm going to go over this one, just like I did the top one. I am going to go over this one 3 times. Make sure I'm getting into the camera here, I'm sorry. Now when you're painting like this too, you can give it some dry time in between coats. Hit it with a heat gun or a hair dryer. You know, or let it sit if you want for maybe an hour or so. Oopsie, that just brought that up. You got to be careful with that. I was afraid of that. I was just getting ready to say, got to be careful with that. Because when you go back over it, it can bring the paint up. You just have to learn how to go around it like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and tap the center in on this one too. But if you give it a little bit more time, I had stepped away for a few minutes. If you give it a little bit more dry time, chances are that won't happen. But you just have to be careful with it, because even if you're coating right away, the paint can lift underneath. I'm also going to go ahead and tap in the center here for this one, the open one. And on this video, I am just going to be painting the front of this bottle. When I sell these, I actually do paint all the way around typically, unless it's a Jägermeister bottle, which is kind of a rectangle shape. I a lot of times just paint on the front of it. Alright, so what I just did, I am going to come back up here and I'm going to just come into this a smidge and then do a nice little stroke like that. And come into the center again, maybe even overlapping it if you want, and do it like this. And if you want, I mean, you could pull some of these petals over in the center, but I'm not going to do that on this, just the center one. And so then on this one, I'm going to actually kind of do it like this, where I pull it in. So it's a little bit different. I'm going to start from the edge and just pull it in like that towards the center. And then I'm going to come here, go like this, pull it out, and then pull it back in. Come over here, do the same thing. Both sides don't have to be the same, but they can. You just kind of fill that in a little bit there. Maybe make it a little bit more of a tip coming out, and then back up. There you go. Alright, so then the next thing I'm going to do is take my next brush, which is the 10. I'm going to do the side loading like I did for the flowers. Just keep sticking my hands in the paint. Okay, so then I just tip in, go back and forth, tip in, go back and forth. Not a biggie. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to kind of put my little stem in, and then make sure I don't have too much purple. Oop, yay, it turned off. Okay, and then I'm just going to do some wiggle leaves. And on this one, I'm going to just come back down like that, pull it. I'm going to go back over it again. I'm going to make sure I have a lot of paint on my brush because I want to have good coverage. Get straighter there, and then come back like that. And then I can pull the stem through, or I can do it the other way where it's just the more of the blue that comes through. Either way is fine. And then I'm going to have a stem that comes up this way, and I'm just going to do some light little pulls that come back, up. Again, if you feel like you need to go over them, feel free to do so while you've got the chance. And you can rotate them some too. They don't all have to be the same length, the same width. It's more fun actually if you just kind of vary them some. I think at least. Go in here like that. Kind of fill it in so it doesn't look like you pulled the paint off. Just like that. Pretty easy. Whenever you're painting like this, if you get too much paint on your brush, feel free to wipe it off on, I would say, like a paper towel or a towel of some sort. Something that's not, or something I should say more that is actually lint free. And this is just a little bit different kind of a petal here. And again, you can just pull a little stem through it like that, easy peasy. And then come in here if you want, pull some little, and again, I just want to make sure they're nice and fully covered. And actually I can go like this, so you can see it's a leaf on top. And then I can come out here and I just want to do some of these real wavy little pulls. And I did pull in some of the purple, which is fine. When you're doing wet on wet, you know that you're always, it's a possibility that you're going to have some mixture of color as you're painting. And it can come into your flower a little bit. If you overlap, you know that that's more of a natural look. Definitely more of a natural look. And you just keep going down your little. When you're doing this too, you can actually use a different size brush You don't have to use all the same. I'm just trying to keep it simple as far as the items that you need to create the design. That's my motive, because I don't want you to have to spend a ton of money to do the painting. However, you know, if you feel like it's easier to put, you know, another brush into the mix, or you could use the same size brush and just have multiple brushes. You can do that too. Alright, so we're going to keep going here. Also, when you're doing this, you can move your colors so that like the outside is not always white, or that you have a mixture. I'm going to do here. Just want to make sure so it keeps pulling the paint up when I'm wiggling it. It's where you have to be really careful. I don't know why it's doing that on this one, but it is. And you can pull another style leaf out this way. A little stem in it. It's just kind of random. I mean, that's all. It's not, I'm just kind of creating as I go. I'm trying, I did definitely pull some purple into that. I can come this way and do it. And I can tap it, just tap it a little bit so I'm not pulling the paint off. And it's okay to have a little bit of purple into this mix. I think it actually can help give it some more interest if you do that. And I just want to make, see, like this is kind of thin here, so I want to make sure I do put some more paint over the top of it, and just so that it's not too light, because you don't want it to come off easily. And you can also, you know, use one of these to go ahead and put in some more fillers, like I'm doing here. There we go. Alright, so we're getting close to being finished. I'm just going to do a few fillers in here. And you can leave these out. If this is something that you don't like, you don't think it adds to it, then just, you know, feel free. Darn it. Always have to have a barking dog. Always. Sorry about that. Always, always, always. I don't know what life would be like without a barking dog. Alright. I think that's very pretty. I hope you do too. And you can just keep working on it to see where else you need to add some leaves or that type of thing. The last thing I'm going to do to finish this off is take my fine liner and finish off the centers. And all I'm doing is just sticking my fine liner in the paint, and then I pull the bristle out and kind of roll it a little bit so it doesn't have too much paint on it, and I'm going to go over it like this and then just do some speckling with this, and that will be my center. Very simple. You know, centers don't have to be real detailed in order to be nice. They can just be very basic, but still pretty. when you use a color that's kind of, I don't want to say coordinating color, it's really not. It's a color that shows up because it's different than what you're using. Contrasting color. Couldn't think of the word. Sorry about that. And you just take light little jabs here, around it, leave the black. And you could even add white to this, or yellow, whatever you wanted, and to make it more colorful if you wanted. I kind of like it with just the fresh foliage. Let's see, do we do that much? Fill it in a little bit more, and I think we're good to go. Alright, I hope you like this. I think it's just very soft. Again, I'll finish the rest of the bottle off, but I'm just doing the front for the video. If you like this design, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. New to my channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. And before you leave, if you would share this with your social network, very easy, just hit the share button underneath the video and it'll give you the options of where you want to share it, and you're good to go. Alright, until the next time, thanks so much for stopping by. You please be safe and healthy, and you have a good one.